All right, let's dive in, shall we? Today, we're looking at the world of music, but not just the music itself. We're adding in a bit of a legal twist.
It's legal to it.
Yeah, we've got some TMZ articles here, and they're covering a whole bunch of stuff. Drake's been making moves. Diddy's got some courtroom drama going on.
Oh, this sounds juicy.
It is, and even Kendrick Lamar and Joe Budden get thrown into the mix.
Okay, so we've got beefs, we've got courts. Where do we even begin?
Well, let's start with Drake because he's got a lot going on. World tour, new music, and oh yeah, that never-ending rivalry with Kendrick.
The control verse is never going to die, is it?
I know, right? But first, let's talk about the tour. There's been a bit of a hiccup in Australia and New Zealand. Seems like moving that massive stage setup between cities wasn't a walk in the park.
It's easy to forget, with all the glitz and glam, that these tours are massive logistical undertakings.
Absolutely. And those cities, they're pretty spread out. Coordinating all that transport for a stage that big,
Yeah.
it's a huge job.
It really highlights the clash between the image of these larger-than-life artists and the reality of time zones and travel times.
Right, and we're not just talking about the stage itself. We're talking lights, sound, maybe even pyrotechnics. This is a whole production moving from city to city.
So what happened? Did they have to cancel shows?
Postpone, actually. But Drake's already rescheduling and offering refunds to fans who can't make the new dates.
Smart move. Got to keep
Yeah.
the fans happy, especially when things don't go according to plan.
Definitely. And speaking of keeping things interesting, the tour is called the, wait for it, Anita Max Win Tour.
Anita Max Win Tour. Okay, I kind of love that. It's got a mysterious ring to it.
Right. Anyway, let's talk about the music. Drake's new album with Party Next Door. Well, it's definitely adding feel to that Kendrick Lamar fire.
Oh, we didn't.
Oh, he did. There are tracks on there where he takes some pretty direct shots.
I mean, this is Drake we're talking about. A little bit of drama is practically part of his brand at this point.
You're not wrong. But in one song, Gimme a Hug, he goes after Kendrick's wordplay even. He raps, and I quote, "Funny how it's only bitchins that are waiting on the boy's obituary, 'cause if I die, it's these ends that become the sole beneficiary. And what the frank are they going to do with it? Head of girls up at 29, on stage, twerking with a dictionary."
Wow. Okay. He went there.
He did. And it's not just Kendrick. Drake also takes aim at Joe Budden on the album, but with a lighter touch, almost playful.
Interesting. So he's tailoring his approach depending on who he's targeting. Cold and calculated for Kendrick, a bit more tongue-in-cheek for Budden.
Exactly. It's like he's using different weapons from his arsenal. And get this, he even uses his secret Instagram account, Plot Twits, to take a jab at Budden.
A secret Instagram. What do you say? Spill the tea.
Oh, it was about, of all things, sit-ups. Like, Drake was making fun of Budden for not doing enough sit-ups.
Okay, that's hilarious. And so Drake, right now, he's got the tour, he's got this album, and he's juggling these feuds. It's almost like performance art at this point.
It really is. But let's switch gears for a second. Let's talk about Diddy, because he's in a whole different kind of drama, a legal one, and it's gotten pretty intense.
Oh, what's he gotten himself into now?
Well, there's this attorney, Tony Buzbee, and he's filed a ton of lawsuits against Diddy. Like, a lot.
What kind of lawsuits are we talking about here?
Serious ones. And the source material says that Buzbee filed 22 in one specific federal court. Can you believe that?
22. That's
Yeah.
excessive. It feels almost like, I don't know, like he's trying to bury Diddy in paperwork.
Yeah, it does feel that way. But here's the real kicker. Diddy's team is claiming that Buzbee wasn't even authorized to practice law in that district when he filed those lawsuits.
Hold on. How is that even possible?
Usually, lawyers need to file something called a pro hack vice to get permission to practice outside of their licensed area. It's a pretty common thing.
Like a legal permit, right, to operate in a different jurisdiction.
Exactly. But Diddy's team says Buzbee skipped that whole step.
That's a big no-no in the legal world. Makes you wonder, what was he thinking?
I know, right? And this isn't even Buzbee's first run-in with a music industry giant. Jay-Z sued him a while back for extortion.
Oh, wow. So this guy's got a history of colorful legal battles.
He does. And this whole situation with Diddy, it's getting pretty messy. Diddy's team is really pushing back hard against Buzbee's pro hack vice application.
So it's a fight on two fronts for Diddy. He's dealing with the accusations themselves, and he's also got this legal maneuvering going on in the background.
It's a real tangled web. I'll have to dive deeper into the specifics of these lawsuits and this whole pro hack vice issue in part 2 of our deep dive. Welcome back. We were talking about Drake, specifically how he's calling out both Kendrick and Joe Budden. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of surprised at how different he comes at them.
Totally. It's like two completely different strategies. With Kendrick, it's all very calculated, almost like he's trying to dismantle Kendrick's whole image.
Yeah, but with Joe Budden, it's like more, I don't know, playful, teasing, maybe.
It's weird because with Kendrick, it feels personal, like a real rivalry. But with Budden, it's almost mean.
Yeah, like just picking on him.
Which is odd, right? Because Budden's not even really a rapper anymore. He's all about his podcast now.
I know. And Budden actually responded to the whole sit-ups thing.
Oh, he did? What'd he say?
Well, basically, he said Drake was being too harsh, especially since, he's not even really in the rap game anymore.
He's got a point. It's like, why kick a guy when he's down?
Right. But I guess that's Drake, right? Always got to have the last word. And we got to remember, this is all happening while Drake's on this massive tour, and he's got this new album out.
Oh, yeah. That album's doing crazy numbers, isn't it?
It is. It might even give Kendrick's GNX a run for its money, especially after that Super Bowl performance.
Yeah, that performance was electric.
Mm.
But with all this going on, Drake's got to be feeling the pressure, right?
Mm.
Tour, album, feuds. That's a lot to handle.
For sure. But let's shift gears back to Diddy. I mean, the accusations against him, they're really serious stuff.
Yeah, we're talking sexual assault, human trafficking. It's heavy stuff.
And to be clear, Diddy's denied everything. But this whole case, it raises some uncomfortable questions about power, right? Like, how often do artists get away with bad behavior just because they're famous?
It's a tricky balance, right? We have to take these accusations seriously, but we also got to remember that everyone's innocent until proven guilty.
And the outcome of this case, it could have a huge impact on the industry. Like, it could set a precedent for how these kinds of allegations are handled.
Absolutely. And let's not forget, Diddy's got this massive business empire. Music, fashion, TV. This could really damage his brand.
No doubt. And on top of all that, he's got this whole issue with his lawyer, Buzbee. It's like a legal drama within a legal drama.
It is. Diddy's team is basically saying that Buzbee was acting unethically, that he shouldn't even be allowed to represent him.
And Buzbee has a history of, shall we say, aggressive tactics.
Oh, yeah. His history with Jay-Z is definitely not
Yeah.
squeaky clean.
So it's almost like Diddy's caught between a rock and a hard place, right? He's dealing with these accusations, and he's got to manage this lawyer who might be, well, causing more problems than he's solving.
It really highlights the importance of trust, When you're in a situation like this, you need a lawyer who's not just competent, but who also have your back.
Exactly. And it makes you think, what would you do in that situation? How do you choose the right lawyer when everything's on the line?
It's a tough question. And it's something we'll definitely be exploring more as we dig into the specifics of these lawsuits against Diddy.
All right, let's try and untangle this whole pro-hack vice thing with Diddy and his lawyer. It sounds like, I don't know, a pretty important detail.
It is. It is. Basically, lawyers, they're licensed, right?
Yeah.
But only in specific places.
So like a lawyer in California can't just show up in New York and start practicing law.
Exactly. If they want to work on a case outside their area, they got to get permission from the court. And that's where this pro-hack vice comes in.
So it's like a legal hall pass.
Yeah, kind of. It's basically the court saying, okay, you can work on this case here, even though you're not licensed in this state, but you got to follow our rules.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
But Diddy's team is saying Buzbee just ignored that, filed all those lawsuits without even asking.
Exactly. And not only that, but Buzbee had already tried to get admitted to practice in that specific district, the Southern District of New York, and was denied.
So he knew the rules, knew he probably couldn't practice there, and still just went ahead and filed those lawsuits.
That's what's so baffling. It makes you wonder, what was his game plan? Was he intentionally trying to cause chaos?
Right. Or was it just, like, massive overconfidence? Either way, Diddy's the one left holding the bag, and he is not happy.
Oh, no. He's fighting back hard, not just against the accusations themselves, but against how Buzbee's handling everything.
Like going beyond just saying, hey, this guy wasn't allowed to file these lawsuits. They're saying Buzbee straight up violated ethical rules.
Exactly. By publicly saying Diddy's guilty, even though there hasn't even been a trial for the federal indictment.
It just feels like, I don't know, like this whole thing has become less about the accusations and more about a power struggle between Diddy and his own lawyer.
Yeah, you could say that. And it really underscores how important it is for anyone, but especially for celebrities with so much at stake, to have the right lawyer.
Someone you trust, someone who's on your side, someone who's not going to make things worse.
Absolutely. And it makes you think, doesn't it? What would you do if you were in Diddy's shoes? How do you even choose the right lawyer? when you're facing something like this?
It's a lot to think about. We've covered a lot of ground today, huh? Drake, his music, his feuds, the whole back and forth. Then Diddy, these serious accusations, and this legal mess with his lawyer.
It's been fascinating really seeing how music, fame, and the law, they all intersect.
And it's not just about celebrities, right? This whole thing raises questions about power, about accountability, about the legal system itself.
Absolutely. And I think it's important for all of us to really examine those questions, to think critically about what we're seeing, and to form our own conclusions.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.